Hello, Kyle here. I am going to review Jurassic World Dominion. And I better just start off with my thoughts. This is one of the worst films I have ever seen. Um, I, I don't even know where to begin with this review. This movie was so infuriating to me and so frustrating to me that I am at a loss for words at just how much they failed with this film. The writers, the director, even the actors. Because I will say that if I want to give some positives of this movie, I will say that the original three Jurassic Park actors, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum, are all great. They do a great job in the movie. They are still just as good as they were when they first made Jurassic Park. The problem herein lies with what they were given, because what they were given, especially the plot of this film, is so stupid and so unlike Jurassic Park, just the idea of Jurassic Park. It is infuriating to me that this is the final film in the Jurassic World trilogy and the Jurassic Park saga, as you want to call it. The other positives I would say is that there's one sequence, it's like a motorcycle chase sequence where Chris Pratt Owen's on a motorcycle and he's being chased by the dinosaurs. You've seen it in the trailers. It's actually a pretty exciting sequence. I think it's well shot, and I really do think that it's one of the very few moments in the film that I was engaged in. There is also another, I think, positive of the film in DeWanda Wise's character, whose name I do not remember, but she is really good in it. She actually adds a lot of, at least DeWanda Wise, the character is all right, but her as an actress, she adds a lot of, I think, weight to the performance and to the film itself. I was completely engaged in her performance, and I thought that whenever she was on screen, I thought the movie was really working. Just like when, the other cast members like Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern are on screen, you can feel it. But there are so many things I have in terms of criticisms, in terms of negatives. The first off is a minor one, but it kind of gave me it kind of warned me at the beginning on what this film was. I mean, many of the other Jurassic World and Jurassic Park films have begun with the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park title in the film. This movie doesn't begin with that. It's really not a criticism. It's a silly criticism, but that's like one of the first things I noticed. I was kind of just like, oh, really? Another thing that really frustrated me about this movie, I mean, it begins with the idea of dinosaurs now roaming the earth, and they have taken over the earth, and they have taken over this world, and it's now a Jurassic World. The film doesn't really do much with that concept, and it really feels like the movie is a waste of time. For instance, and not to really go into any spoilers, but the ending of the film is basically the ending of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. There is no, huge reveal, there is one reveal in here that's kind of ridiculous, but there isn't something in the film that feels remotely like a conclusion to this franchise. There are parts in this movie, for instance, it's a 2.5 hour long movie. And there are some scenes in this movie that feel like they go on forever. Forever. One of them is a scene between the actor Campbell Scott, who was Richard Parker in the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and B.D. Wong, who plays Dr. Henry Wu, that we've known before. There's a scene between them that is so long, I almost asked myself, do they even need this scene? It felt almost just a waste of time. There were moments in this movie where dinosaurs aren't even on screen. Like, it's called Jurassic World Dominion, and yet they spend an entire, the entire side plot of this movie, if not the entire plot, really, of this movie, around the idea of these things, like these locusts, and them spreading across the world. I didn't even understand it. It was so confusing. But I was so bored by it. And it all revolves around Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant, and it just, it does not feel like Jurassic Park. It feels like some other movie. And there are moments in this film where it, as I said before, it's focused on characters. There are like hundreds of characters in this movie. It's a global film where they go to a bunch of different locations. But it just never feels like any of this is important. And they take the character of Maisie, who I kind of liked in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but they really try and focus the film around her, when I really think they could have not done that. I mean, part of me, I understand that they have to kind of continue what Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was setting up, but this is a story about dinosaurs, and it's also a story about mankind, but this movie is more, I feel, about the humans than it is about the dinosaurs. And it just doesn't feel, I will keep on saying this, it does not feel like Jurassic Park. I am a huge fan of the first Jurassic World. I mean, I love the first Jurassic Park. It's the best of the franchise, of course. But in terms of this franchise, the Jurassic World franchise, I dearly, dearly love the first Jurassic World. I will defend the first Jurassic World from like here to eternity. But as someone that was a fan of the first Jurassic World and liked Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I didn't love it. I thought it was inferior to the first Jurassic World. But I am let down and I am disappointed by this Jurassic World Dominion. It does not feel like the conclusion that we should have gotten. It does not feel like a worthy conclusion. It meanders its way around, I feel, an unfocused plot with characters that pop in and out. Some characters in this movie are, and I could even, I have to criticize the performances too, because some of the performances in this film are so boring. I just cannot stay engaged watching. For instance, there is the character of Franklin, who is played by Justice Smith. Now, Justice Smith, I've seen pull out some pretty fairly okay performances. I see in Detective Pikachu, but in here, Franklin, who was one of my least favorite characters in Fallen Kingdom, just feels so lifeless in this movie and so out of place and almost like he doesn't even want to be there. There are other performances in this movie, whether it's Campbell Scott's performance as this character that I don't even remember the name of, that's kind of like the main antagonist. Just, it's so boring and they continually focus on this character. I don't understand why Dr. Wu wasn't like the main antagonist of this franchise, because he's always like working under someone else. And B.D. Wong is an incredible actor, yet they never gave him anything to work with here. You have this guy that is played by Campbell Scott that I just was so bored watching. There was another actor. I do not know how to pronounce his name, but his character was Ramsey. He is an actor I really do love. He was in this great show with Elizabeth Olsen called Sorry for Your Loss. Wonderful actor, wonderful performance in that show. I feel like he was miscast here. His role, I feel, needed a little bit more personality and charisma to it. I did not feel that performance. There was many other actors in this movie and characters that I just did not feel. Also, the dinosaur, the Velociraptor Blue, who is one of the key elements of this franchise, is barely in this film. Her story, her child is taken by the bad guys, and they have to get the child back. I'm sorry, I did not really care about that, because I care about Blue, and I wanted to see more of Blue's story, and we did not get that. We got Blue's child, who is barely in the film, like, makes some appearances. It does not feel connected. I feel like the few people out there that just watch the Jurassic World movies and hadn't seen the first Jurassic Park would be utterly lost watching this. They'd be wondering, who is Ellie Sattler? Who is Alan Grant? Who is Ian Malcolm? Ian Malcolm, who I kind of don't even understand why he is in the film to the capacity of what he's been given. There are moments in this movie that just bored me so much, and I'm just disappointed, because when it comes to this franchise, I have enjoyed every single Jurassic Park movie, but this film didn't excite me, and it's the writing. It is the directing. It is the acting. It is even I would criticize the score by Michael Giacchino, who I am in love with Michael Giacchino's work, and am in love with the work that Michael Giacchino has brought to the Jurassic World franchise. Both Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I thought, had terrific scores. In the case of this movie, I did not get anything out of the score aside from the usual Jurassic World themes, but it did not hook me. I was talking to a friend just recently about how, like, Transformers: The Last Knight was one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen. And the one thing about that film that I will always hold on to, though, is the fact that the score by Steve Jablonsky is just outstanding. And I just feel like that was something that was also lost in this film. Once again, as I said before, I think that there's some chase scenes. Sometimes it gets tense and you're engaged. And DeWanda Wise's pilot character also gripped me. But aside from that, this movie was a massive disappointment. And as I said, it is honestly like one of the worst films I've ever seen. I'm sure, a lot of people worked hard on the film. I'm sure, the actors and the writers worked hard. But as I am giving an honest review of this film, I did not like this movie. And it's a shame, because I could say, I hope they do better the next time. But they say it's the end of the franchise. So I do not know what's going to happen now. And I just feel deflated, because this is how the franchise ends. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, I'm just so frustrated. But I guess I'll ask you guys, whoever watched this video, did you see this movie? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you also have the same feelings I had? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.